Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. I got the sweatshirts from our friends at Strategic Factory. Make sure you say hello to Keith Miller if you find him, and make sure you're ordering the Taharka Brothers ice cream. You know, I bring this stuff on to taunt my friends. Todd Schuler is going to be joining us here from Blondell Miller Schuler. So, you know, I bring in the Pizza John's, which you can go get any day but on Monday. Hopefully you didn't want it for Monday Night Football. I had to explain that to Chris Pikett. They're closed on Monday. The Caramel Apple Crisp can be delivered to the door if you order it. Eggnog, peppermint bark, 28 flavors to choose from at Taharka Brothers, and they are now employee-owned. Big announcement. Sean and Steve came on the program this week. You can get to know them out at Baltimore Positive. But make sure you put the Baltimore Positive code in. You save $15.70 on the 8-pack. There it is, the 8-pack in the bus. Todd Schuler joins us. He was up late on Monday night, and short rest. The season was sort of in peril, and now there's this iconic game, right? This Willis Reed moment that Lamar gets IVs and runs out and throws a 4th and 4 over everybody's head, and Hollywood actually catches it. It was like a Hollywood script, wasn't it?
It harkens for me to Hey Diddle Diddle Ray Rice up the middle, right? On
4th and 29, baby. Yeah, that was a whole chapter
right?
in Purple Rain too. Yep.
If he doesn't beat 11 San Diego defenders, no Mile High Miracle, no Super Bowl, none of it. We never even make the playoffs that year. And that was that game, that Browns game, right? If it's not a given that we go to the playoffs now, but we certainly don't go to the playoffs if you lose to the Browns there. 10-6, best case scenario is not getting it done in the AFC this year. So there it is. And oh my gosh, I don't even know what I witnessed. I really don't even know what I saw. I
think we're trying to process it. When I put the headline up on Tuesday morning, Luke and I did our first segment, way early, up all night. I was wired after the game. I'm watching the press conferences, and I'm getting Cleveland people are texting me. I mean, you're married to one of them, right? I mean, you have a Browns wife, right?
I texted my brother-in-law after the game. I said, I can't even talk trash. I just want to go to bed and figure it all out later because I don't know what happened. I mean, the Browns were crazy good too. I mean, that Nick Chubb sure can run the ball 7 times every time he touches it. And Baker Mayfield looked like Brett Favre. And, then you had Lamar running. I mean, what's the game look like if Lamar's cleats are on right in the first half, or if he doesn't have to go to the bathroom?
It's sort of like that Denver game, where I froze, the miracle game, Jacoby Jones, Mile High Miracle. I don't remember anything about the first, second, third quarter of the game. You know what I mean? Like, how did they get to 42? I remember the score was 27-14. I mean, their kicker can't kick. They're missing extra points. They're missing threes. Things happened during the game. There were lots and lots of things that happened en route to 84 points, right? Like literally in an AFC North December matchup with teams that look to run the ball. I mean, everything about it's an anomaly. And then the kicker comes out and kicks a 55-yard field goal in December in Cleveland into the open-end dog pound. Crazy.
Who's
literally
automatic from 55? In the history of anything, who was automatic from 55? And it felt kind of automatic. You're like, all they got to do is get him to the 40-yard line. And
he had one blocked earlier. Right? I mean,
he did have an extra point blocked, right? Was it an extra point or a field goal?
It was an extra point.
Yeah, I mean, how about McSorley? If he doesn't, when Lamar's in the bathroom or wherever the heck
just holding on to the ball, just
getting 2 first downs. First downs. It's like a backup quarterback miracle. And he did a pretty
He's not a backup quarterback. He's a third-string quarterback.
Right.
It's different. How many third-string quarterbacks in 24 years? This is a Luke Jones question. I would say 0. I mean, Wally Richardson started a game once, right? The Ryan Mallett thing that happened here a couple of years ago, and he wasn't a third string. But, I mean, the third string quarterback has rarely ever played and certainly hasn't come into a December game of that magnitude. Excuse me. Sneezing.
Season on the line. Bless you. A season on the line, and he's got to move the ball, and he doesn't know Lamar's coming back. I don't know what he knows, but I'm all over Twitter. Is Lamar really in the bathroom? Is he hurt? And you're trying to get the
I
The
thought he was in the
inside piece.
bathroom, and I don't, I mean, you can make bathroom jokes all you want. At some point, some athlete's going to get sick on a sideline and wind up. But I mean, you don't hear about it, you don't know about it, or whatever. And I mean, I always wonder how rock stars do it. You know what I mean?
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
I, I mean, the
it's weird.
president just does it in his diaper. Well, it depends on who you right, but yeah, I don't.
It's weird how
I
prudish
thought
we
he
are,
had. I
right?
thought he ate something bad. I thought somebody served him something bad at the Cleveland hotel.
Or lingering, could be lingering. We don't know what the
Oh,
virus is doing
COVID
to
could be
people. I
anything,
mean,
right?
like you could kind of wreck your belly a little bit for a few weeks, or
It is a
you know,
virus, right?
yeah. But it's bizarre. The announcers don't want to touch it. We're just kind of a weird, funny, like, yeah, we're not going to talk about the bathroom here. Like he's getting cramps. He's
By the
choosing
way, does
cramps.
Louis Riddick dislike Marcus Peters, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well,
And and I have so much respect for Louis Riddick. And
living.
watching Marcus Peters' act here the last year, you know, I, I'd be okay. You know what I mean? In the same way that they said about Earl Thomas, addition by subtraction or whatever. And I like Marcus Peters, the player. I know Ozzie Newsome loves Marcus Peters, the player. They jumped on him, but I don't. Uh, the jury's out on him through these teams, and people like Louis Riddick saying, maybe not.
Well, the best is, like, if it's not Cleveland, Baltimore, or Baltimore in Cleveland, and the whole Modell story before, like the whole broadcast itself is just basically rooting for the Browns, right? I mean, like, which is fine. I'm not.
Because they're Charlie Brown. They never
Yeah,
win,
I'm not
man.
the announcers against us or that kind of
If
stuff.
they were
But
playing the Steelers, they'd still be rooting for the Browns because the
yeah,
Browns never win. It's like rooting for the Cubs at this point, right? Like literally.
it has got to be. I wanted to text my in-laws, and I did after the first game. But I always want to text that Lucy, like you said, Charlie Brown, Lucy holding the football, like, we're gonna get him this year, guys. Like, they get all cocky. They've been texting me for weeks, like, hey, look at where we are in the standings, look at where you are, like, all right, but let's see what happens when we play. It's gotta be my poor 10-year-old is in school, getting, I'm sure, hazed by his buddies,
Oh,
who
your
are all
10-year-old kid's a
Ravens fans.
Browns fan?
He is. He is. He's followed in his Cleveland family's foot. We always joked if we lived in Cleveland, he'd be a Ravens fan. If he lived in,
What is he, just a contrarian?
absolutely, he's got the opportunity to. Oh, I had him the entire first half, and he couldn't shut his mouth. Like, I'm like, boy, you're gonna find a new place to live if you keep talking about my Ravens like that. But
I
yeah,
can't
he's ready to
believe you
go.
live with this.
I love it. Well, yeah, it's like the way to do it though. Like, if you're gonna talk trash to Browns fans, how about having a poor 10-year-old one who
Yeah, man.
looks up
See,
to you?
I come at it really differently, and maybe just being nasty Nestor on the radio, and knowing of me in that way or whatever. Like, I have dear friends of mine from Cleveland, right? Like Bernard McKinney. I have a couple of ex-girlfriends from Cleveland that are in my life who live across the country who are all Brownsed up, and twice a year, Tribe, LeBron, all the stuff you live with, right? I don't do the trash talk thing. It's just like, as a sports fan, it's not my thing. You know what I
Right,
mean? It's
right.
it's not my thing on the radio, off the radio, in real life, any of that. You know what else isn't my thing? Is gambling. I've never been a gambler on sports. It's just not. I don't know. I mean, I play blackjack. I'll play some craps in Vegas. I like Vegas. I just have never. I bet
Yeah,
on football one time in Vegas 15 years ago. It was with my wife. It was a bye weekend, and I put $25 on a game and sat in the casino and drank free beer and played blackjack and thought, like, that was dumb. I would just. It's $50. I should have gambled some other way that would have been more fun for me. But the gambling part of that push late at night with the safety. I had JT the Brick. I did his show in the aftermath. Literally, I missed Lamar's press conference doing JT the Brick show live on Sirius at 11:48 p.m. on Monday night. And the first thing that came up to a Vegas guy is, what was that?
that was a 3-point. That was a 3-point spread, right? Another just insane story, right, of last night, and then sure enough, the old back door with the safety at the end, and then you're wondering. And I'm not a big gambling guy either, but at the 3 points, like, the gambling world, the money people, they want that 3-point spread. So are they even going to add the safety at the end? They just walk off the field like no need to kick the extra
Like
point.
it never happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Those stories exist. I think there was a Steelers Vikings game one time where like a run back on a fumble on the kickoff would have given the backdoor cover to whoever, and they just never counted the touchdown. Like teams walked off the field, but like these things, they go down. I'm not like you said, to bet $100 on a football game at a chance to win $100 has zero appeal to me. Like
I have no jam for that. Like I like a block pool. I'll do a parlay card with my dad down at the point where I circle Maryland on Saturday and Rice to cover 28 against A&M or like I'm good. I played the lottery. I'm not anti-gambling. I just don't have that bet like people I know. And the other part that's weird is like you're betting on baseball games, hockey games, point spreads and stuff you have no clue about, Florida State, and you're willing to bet money on it. I think it's different if you're a poker player or you're you have like a skill to beat the house or whatever. But Marvin Lewis once said to me 25 years ago, he's like, I can't believe people bet on this. Like I don't know who's going to win weeks. I have no idea how we're going to play or how Las Vegas will put a number on any of that. And that was 25 years ago. And then I think about like betting on college basketball where like a guy goes out, takes a garbage 3 at the end and does exactly whatever that was Monday night, that backyard rugby match they started that wound up at 2 points the other way, that threw millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, literally, because that's how much is gambled in a game like that. And I don't mean to sound like a teetotaler or like I'm anti-gambling or whatever, but that would be the reason right there that I think whatever the bet is, it's probably not a very good bet. In the same way that betting on like a college basketball game and somebody having a garbage 3, because that happens every night.
Forget the garbage 3. What happens at the end of every basketball game is they start fouling. So, right, like now you get the last 2 minutes of the game are like completely different from the rest of the game. And maybe guys going to hit a whole bunch of foul shots on the way down the line or maybe miss some. And
an 11-point becomes a 7 because somebody hits a 3 at the end. The spread's 8. And so what I'm saying is in college basketball, the bad beat thing, the weird, that happens all the time. In football, it becomes a story you remember,
Yeah. But yeah, give me the horses. If I'm gonna gamble,
that's right. You're a pony guy. Right.
Give me a $10 bet that can win me 200. And then give it to me every half hour or 45 minutes. Not like blackjack, where that guy's like, shapap. That's your next game. That's your next $10.
Bet.
Yeah. Horses. I play $5 or $10 a race. You sit around for 35 minutes. You drink a beer. You pick the horse with the funniest name, and you do it again. At the end of the day, you've lost $60. And you had a good time all day, and maybe you have a big hit for $500 or $300.
This is right at the point where I kick the former delegate in the nuts, Todd Schuler, and say, this is why they keep the casinos open while they close all my friends' bars and restaurants, right?
It's the truth. It's yes, that is a remarkable thing that is going on, right? Why? Well, I don't know how. I don't know how to do it, and this is why I'm not in government anymore, because I was never truly capable of this kind of decision making. But when the big guys can eat and the little guys can't eat, it's pretty bad, right?
Well, for 9 months, if you look at the wealth that has been amassed every time someone we know goes on Amazon or on Walmart and gives them money instead of giving money here in the local community. I mean, I think about it, and I talk about my Taharka friend, just to give you an example. Okay? We're doing this Taharka special. This time last year, I love ice cream. I love holiday ice cream. I mean, I joke about eggnog, but there's eggnog in my coffee 20 minutes ago, Like, I like this time of the year. I like what it represents and the weather and all that stuff. So last year, my son orders ice cream online from an Ohio company. They make great ice cream. It's artisan. They're a wonderful company. They sent me gingerbread, cognac, and boozy eggnog and whatnot. So it came last year. This year, I have a chance to support a company that's local, that just became employee-owned this week, where I literally went over to the factory 3 miles from my house and watched them literally soup to nuts, make honey graham ice cream, make eggnog ice cream in front of me, and then ship it out to local places, local people like you that get it. It's really sort of old school, and I think, and I don't want to get too political here in a week when Lamar's winning and we're doing, but through the holidays, I really am thinking about where people are spending all of this money. I was out and about on Monday night before the game, running some errands, getting Dr. Steve to fix my back up at LA Chiropractic Life. Thank you, Dr. Steve, putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. But we had Nancy Hafford on this week, who I know you know well. We had Teal Carey on this week from Catonsville Chamber of Commerce. We had Max Weiss on from, I keep saying City Paper, but she knows I mean Baltimore Magazine. It's the old school in me. The notion that all of us here in Baltimore, from Blondell Miller Schuler to Pizza John's to my friends at Al Seafood, we talk about local businesses up and down every strip in this city taking care of each other during this period of time, this next 6 months, that when we say curbside from Amici's, when we say, hey, Roost Chris is staying open, man. If you're a Roost Chris person, go down there and get a steak and support Serious Steaks and Steve DeCastro and his 300 employees, all of them. I know 50 of them by name over the last 15 years. These are our friends. These are our neighbors. And more than anything, if you're out on one of these international websites shopping, just think about it differently. Just think about it differently. That's all I'm asking. And that's a message for that every Brandon Scott, that every Johnny O, and I see him, that every Todd Schuler, that every David Marks, everybody should be in on this, that we should be taking care of our own.
Well, you referenced this time of year, and the other thing that should come from this time of year is, and I sort of try and preach it as much as I can, but gratitude. Like, in all of this, my business, was deemed an essential business, and for good reason. I mean, if people don't have their workers' comp checks coming in, and but we're an essential business. So I have my small business that never fully had to shutter, even in the worst of this. It's not lost on me. I've referenced earlier that my kids are in school getting trash talked by their Ravens friends, but like, I happen to have always sent my kids to Catholic schools, so they're going, and I'm not dealing with this awful mess that is the homeschooling that like you say, the disparity. I mean, I got friends that are teachers, like they're kids that are just disappeared. I mean, like, if you can get them in the school, you can, help them and keep them right. But there's kids that are off the grid right now because of this 9-month mess. So the gratitude factor, the fact that I haven't shut my business down, and I have, I am sitting in my office, it's remarkable. And so to your point, absolutely, we have to recognize how lucky we are. I think before to be altruistic, to think about your fellow businesses that are risking being shuttered and overhauling their business model. How many times have these poor restaurants had to like bring people in and then lay them off, and then change the menu to have more deliverable stuff. And, I'm always complaining about my charcuterie platter being gone, no more expensive olives and cheeses. We're getting our sandwiches and we're moving on, so everybody has had it really, really, really tough. And against the backdrop, like, the political backdrop and all just the anger and the angst and the fear of unemployment and the fear of disease. Like, we really got to take it easy on each other. We really got to look at everybody as your brother and your sister, and do what you can to make it a little bit easier on them, right?
Todd Schuler's here. He is Blondell Miller Schuler. They do law. They take care of people down in Essex on Eastern Avenue. Mark and I have been friends forever, and I'm always saying at some point he'll come on. Maybe a holiday visit from Mark, maybe just one eggnog and a toddy with me for the holiday. Because I'd love to have Mark and I just talk about our friendship and how many years we've been at this. But your firm's been at this a long time, and This has been a weird year, I think, for everyone. Explain to folks what you do out there in your semi-retirement after political battles as Delegate Todd Schuler.
So yeah, we're a full service injury law firm. If you are injured in a construction accident or a boating accident or a workers' compensation accident or a motorcycle accident or a car accident, we handle those type of cases. We get the recovery, on behalf of you from the insurance companies that you're entitled to. And as I've said on your air before, a lot of people do what we do, but a lot of people aren't willing to take your case all the way to court as necessary. And we go in with the mentality that we're going to try every case. We don't try every case. We resolve quite a bit. But when you go in with the mentality that you're going to trial, you're going to get the maximum recovery that you can get on behalf of your client. And I believe that that's the value that we offer over our colleagues. And I've seen it. So yeah, we've been out here. Some variation of our law firm has been right here on Eastern Avenue for about 45 years. Some of our staff has been here for most of that time. And that's another value that we add that other people don't have. We have an experienced staff, people that were doing this 20 years before I had graduated from law school, are putting our
Teaching you
settlement.
stuff, huh?
Absolutely. I learned from everybody out there. And we've got the next generation behind them, learning from them as well. We have a great operation. We have most law offices that do what we do, may have a 1-to-1 lawyer to support staff ratio. We have 9 of us and just 2 lawyers. So, we have the folks that can parse through the medical records, that can assemble the exhibits, that can answer things timely. We get work from other law firms because of our ability to handle that kind of stuff and to see things through litigation. Yeah, we have a great operation here. If I had nothing to do with it, if I was out of it entirely, as a matter of fact, I was out of it entirely for close to a decade, and I could see Mark, and I tried to hire his people, and I knew what an operation was here, and it's part of why I came back. So.
He's Todd Schuler. He joins us. He's out at Baltimore Positive. All of our guests and friends and sponsors and the people that own local businesses that we talk about at Baltimore Positive out. You find them at damngoodlawyer.com. You hear the ads around here if you've heard any of our program. Look, I want to bring it back to sports. At some point, I'm going to ask you about the Johnny U thing. I think I'm going to save that for next week to honor the championship, December 28th and all that. So I'll put that on hold. But at some point, we're going to talk about that. But I want to give you a little oxygen on the law this week to talk about presidential coups because what we've witnessed here since the first week of November, backdrop of COVID aside, backdrop of football and everything else that's gone on, we saw a guy try to steal our democracy, and it's like some sort of joke in some quarters. I never saw it as funny. I still don't see it as funny. I still don't see on Monday as the Michigan State House shutting down and militias and armed right-wing, maggots running around the city of D.C. ripping things down and punching people on the streets. This has been egged on, and I just want you to speak to it whatever way you do, because I do see your social media post, and I think we all had some real concern about the intentions of overturning a legitimate election in this country.
Well, yeah, I mean, I referenced it. It's great. It's great. It's a great companion to the virus too, because this has been an extraordinary time to be alive. I thought about that kind of, before we went on the air, and you think about the football game and all the crazy things that happen in the football game. How fun is it that crazy stuff happens in a football game? And that's what we're talking about, because it feels like we've been living under a cloud for years, and that's the public health crisis, and it is absolutely the political crisis that we're suffering through. Used to not be this. The idea that I wasn't going to get my mom sick, or that we weren't going to risk a constitutional crisis, we took that for granted, and we saw magic and weird things happen in Denver in the Mile High Miracle. That was a story. But yeah, no, it's
The fact that 126 people signed on to overthrow an election, elected officials, many of them who were elected in the actual election that they were trying to disavow. I mean, it's jaw-dropping how uninformed our populace is in a general sense to buy the absurdity of words without receipts. Wanting to believe something so much that the evidence is inconsequential.
what if it was closer? What if it was only Pennsylvania? And he hosts the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate, the Pennsylvania.
Not hosts them, intimidates them.
Right.
Different.
Yes. And who knows what, right? Intimidates them with what? With whatever, with dirt, with money. I don't, but imagine it's one state instead of four. I'm not sure we escaped the whole thing without a constitutional crisis. I think not only did Biden have to win that way, he had to win by a big enough margin that it was silly to try and overturn 4 or 5 states, as opposed to one. If it was a one state issue,
and imagine if that state was Georgia.
Yeah, and Georgia, of course, like that guy. I mean, he invented not wearing masks, right? He was trying to out Trump.
How about a guy that runs for Senate that leaves an empty podium at a debate?
Well, I don't even want to talk about those guys. I mean, remember now that
I can't
U.S.
fathom
senators,
that you would say I'm running for delegate and I'm not going to show up for the debate. I mean,
5 U.S. senators seem to have made money on finding out about the coronavirus and trading stock, and 2 of them are still
buying
on the
body
ballot.
bags,
right?
Investing in body bags.
Yeah, these are remarkable times. I think we're coming through them. I had said before that my birthday is January 20th, and that I was going to have a new president, a vaccine,
and the Ravens
and
an AFC championship game.
Yeah.
So your birthday's January 20th. I want to do when does that fall? I mean, I gotta get the actual calendar. When is the AFC championship game? All things being considered, that if we do this. So first playoff game, I want to get the math on this. Would be first playoff game would be 9th, 10th. Second playoff game would be 15, 16. So your birthday's a Wednesday. So the Ravens would have 2 victories and be playing in the championship game on the 24th. So if you on your birthday the Ravens are still playing, they are in the AFC champ, and they would be on the road, obviously. Yes.
Yeah, I've had some doozies. I mean, my surprise 30th, I was at my buddy Tremper's house, and we lost to the Colts in
that's
the
the 06
division
game.
Yeah, oh my God.
That was a dark night.
It was Heineken's. It was Heineken's going, and all I wanted to do, we get home, I just want to go to bed. Forget about it. It's like 9 o'clock.
My wife has video of me
game.
blubbering over the city. Literally, I was blubbering, and she came and put the camera on me and said, "How do you feel? Tell me how you feel right now."
I opened the door. Surprise! I got a surprise party at my damn house. I gotta switch gears entirely and
at midnight. No, that game
it was a 4 o'clock game.
That game was
4 o'clock
early.
game. So it was like 8 or 9 o'clock. Everybody was like, I lived right by the Elmwood Tavern in Overley. Everybody was like, "Come on, you grab a shower and we'll go back and have a beer at the Elmwood." I'm like, "What are we having a beer at the Elmwood for? We lost. It's
Saturday
over."
night and the season's over.
Yeah, I'm going to bed until Monday morning, and then
we lost the first game of the weekend that year, right? We had to sit around and watch the whole next day Sunday. Feeling
you would have figured they probably would have gone 4-8, right, instead of noon 4. Maybe there was a game before us. I don't know, but you're right. It was the first. It was awful.
I think there was the 3:30, 6:30 era, as I remember. Todd Schuler's here, damngoodlawyer.com, the way to find them. And you can find them down on Eastern Avenue in Essex. Hey, man, rest up, Calvert Hall, all right? I mean, rest up for the holidays. We're going to talk about that Johnny you cut out in the back. I'll do that next time just to plug away, and we'll send everybody out to the website. Take care. Have some gratitude. We're in this together. Get some eggnog ice cream. Let's go beat Jacksonville, and we'll sing Christmas carols next week, okay?
Have a good week, Nestor.
Todd Schuler, Blondell, Miller, Schuler, damngoodlawyer.com, the way to find them. You can find me, Ness, at BaltimorePositive.com. We are WNST.net, AM 1570. Towson, Baltimore, we never stop talking. Lamarvelous, and some other things, because we're Baltimore Positive.